Hello everybody, this is Kathy, and thank you for coming back to my channel. I really appreciate you guys and gals. Today is the second in my series of fun and easy things to make for craft fairs, teacher gifts, etc. This is another notepad based on notepads that I got from Dollar Tree. So let's get started. Here's what it is. It's a purse-shaped notepad holder. It's got a little tassel on the front. These are brads and brads. So you're going to need some brads. I also use Velcro here, and for the straps I used little magnets, but you can use Velcro if you'd like. I think for this one that we're making, I'm going to do the straps a little differently, so we can probably just do them in brads. Okay, and we'll open it up, and hopefully you can see on one side we have a pocket with a little notepad. I left it completely blank and put a little pocket. In the center, there's a small pen. And on this side, there's another journal, exactly like the other one. And I added a little tuck spot. So that is what we'll be making today. Stick around if you'd like. It should be fun. Okie doke. First of all, let's talk about what you need for this project. You need craft board. You need 2 pieces cut at 5 by 5.5 and 1 piece cut at 1.5 by 5. You'll be able to get that from 1 piece of 8 by 10 craft, 8.5 by 11 craft board. Then for cardstock, I chose 2 different colors, actually 3 different colors of 12 by 12. What you'll need is 2 different colors for the inside and the outside of the purse, and then another scraps that we'll use for little embellishments on the purse. And I'll go over this when we're doing it, but it's 2 pieces cut down to 3.5 by 5. 4 pieces cut down by 5 by 5.5. That's 2 pieces for the outside cover and 2 pieces for the inside cover. And 2 pieces of 2.5 by 12. That's going to be for the strap. Okie doke. So let's get started. I've already cut my craft board out just like this. And I'm putting the 5-inch side on the bottom. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use a ruler because I want the shape of the purse to be a little smaller at the top and go down to the 5 inches at the bottom. What I'm going to do is find my ruler and come in at 1/2 inch from the top. I'm just going to make a little mark. Let's see. And 1/2 inch from the other side. Just want to make a little mark. Then what I want to do is draw a line from that mark to the corner of the bottom and draw a straight line just like that. Do the same thing on the other side. 1/2 inch from the left. Let me do it this way so I can see what I'm doing. and make a line to that bottom corner. Just like that. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Make sure that your 5 inches is at the bottom. Okay. First, I'm going to mark the 1/2 inch from each side. Then I'm going to draw a line from that mark to the bottom corner on the right. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Just like that. Next thing, I need to cut those. So I'm going to use my cutter. You can cut it with an X-Acto knife, but I just prefer to line it up on my cutter. I love this cutter because it has a steel line going through where you cut, so I can really line it up exactly. And when I cut, I go back a couple of times. And then I'm going to fold it back because I'm going to use my scissors. Normally I would go on the other side and do it, but I'm not going to do that this time. Now I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. Line it up. Press down really hard so it goes through a little. And I'll be cutting that off with my scissors. I'm going to do the same thing on this one, the other cover. Lining it up. Just like that. And this is not great for your blade. You know, I do find that I have to replace my blade more often than usual because I do this a lot on craft board. Okay. Put that aside for a moment and let's cut the purse that we just did here. Get the shape that we want. Nice and clean. It's not hard to cut it if you stay inside the grooves. So one down. And one more to go. I fold it back and forth to get it really nimble, so it's easier to cut. And one more. This is probably the hardest part of it. Okay. And we're going to lay it down like this. And then you need that piece of craft board cut at 1.5 by 5. Make sure I'm giving you the right. Yes, 1.5 by 5. Because you want it to obviously fit inside here. Okay. Lay them down. I'm going to cut just a nidge off of this. It's a nidge too long. Okay. And this has lines on it, so I like to line it up on the lines on the mat. Put it about 1/8 of an inch apart. Then I'm going to take a piece of cardstock that measures 3.5 by 5. And I'm going to take that and lay it here. This is the inside cover. So I had to cut 2 pieces of 3.5 by 5. I'm going to glue it. It got a little farther apart. I'm going to try to center it. I'm going to turn it right over so I can make sure, see how it got a little wonky. That's the good thing about using the liquid glue, because it gives you a little bit of time to make sure you have it in the right place. And you take a paper towel. This is going to end up being the inside of the bag. So I want to get it used to being folded, but I don't want to pull it apart. Just like that. Okay? And I'm just going to trim off the overlap. Clean my scissors. Okay. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to finish covering the inside of the bag. I had some extra pieces here. And I'm going to put the glue on the substrate or the bottom piece. I'm going to glue it all the way up to the fold line. And I'm going to match it up with the top. Make sure it's covering the entire piece on the bottom. Just like that. We're going to do the other side. And again, most important is lining it up with the top. Getting it up to that fold line. And making sure it's nice and clean. Okay, I'm going to cut off the excess. And now this side. And this side. Okay. Just like that. Now we're going to turn it over and we're going to put on the cover. First we're going to go with the bottom. Just like that. Glue it up. Making sure we're covering the bottom, the seams. You're gonna need a lot more glue. I normally would have scored it there. Let me grab a little bone folder. Add some more glue. Making sure to go over the edge. Just like that. Now I want to cut off the excess. Gunk up my scissors again. Okay, now we want to put on the rest of the cover. Just like that. Putting glue on the substrate. I want to make sure it hits the top. And we're going to do the same thing over here. I think these will make such cute just thank you gifts, gratitude gifts, craft fair items. Making sure we get all the way up to the top. Okay. Now we need to cut off the excess again. If you didn't want to cut off excess, you know, you could have traced everything with your craft board before you put it together. I just think it's just as easy to just cut off the excess. I don't have to think about it as much. Okay, I'm going to do the straps. And for the straps, I asked you to cut out 2.5 by 12 inches. Maybe we'll use this color for the straps. And the embellishments, yeah. And so we can go back to actually cutting 2.5 by 12. One should be the same color. Then I'm also going to take my scoreboard and I'm going to score this on the wrong side at 3/4 of an inch. No, wait, 2.5, 2.5. 1 3/4 would be halfway through. I'm going to just slightly score it at 1 1/4. That just tells me where the center is. Then I'm going to score it at, let's see, let's score it at 3/4. Flip it and score it at 3/4. Let me make sure this is right. Let me fold it up. And that's allowing me to make a handle. I'm actually going to cut it. I think it's a little too long. I'm going to cut it at 10 inches. So I'm going to make it 2.5 by 10. I'm going to take the other one and I'm going to score it down the middle at 1.25 lightly. I'm going to score it on the other side, and then I'm going to score it regular at 3/4. Oops. And flip it and 3/4. And go here and score it at 10 so I know where to cut it. Just like that. Okay. And fold it up. Cut it. And, oh, I already cut it. I'm going to glue these, but first, let me take that bone folder and really make these nice crispy. Nice and crispy. And the same thing here. Okay, and we're going to glue these together. I'm going to put glue down the middle and in the flaps and in the other flap. Fold it up. And we're going to give that some time to dry. I'm going to set that aside. Do the same thing to the other one. Glue down the middle. And glue on each flap. Yeesh, come on, baby. You ever talk to your materials? It helps. And fold that down. Set that aside to dry. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to make little corner, I want to say little corner, I don't know, but what it is are these things, little corner embellishments. And again, we're going to use this paper. And I'm simply going to, let's see. I'm going to take a pencil. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to just go like this. Draw a little semicircle. That will be my template. And it will have to be trimmed a little. I'm going to cut another one going this way. Just going to trace it. Can't hardly see it on this. And another one going this way. And this way. Okay. Well, let me cut these out. Erase it. Don't worry if it's not exactly right. Of course, I say that because mine aren't exactly right. I rationalize for myself. I go right inside the line that I traced. Okay, and all we're going to do is glue these in place. Might have to trim them a bit. Oop. This one has to come off. Doesn't match up. Hopefully most of that will be covered. Okay, that'll have to do. Okay. This one needs a little trimming. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is, and I didn't ask you to cut this for some reason. I think we're going to make it approximately 1.5 1.5 inches. No, let's make it 2 inches. And we'll make it 2 by 1, 2, 3, 4 inches. So we'll make it 2 by 4 inch strip. This is going to be for the little closure. So 2 by 4. Okay, let's see if that'll work. And I'm going to score it at 1/2 inch on each side. So that we have something that looks like this. That'll work. And I'm going to round the corners on one side. Whoops. That was wonky. Okay, let's glue it. This is my strap. I see that it was coming up. Little sucker. Okay. And this, that's good. We're going to put that aside. The next thing I'm going to make is a few pockets. And these are the pockets for the inside. So they're about 3 inches tall. And we're going to make 2 of them. Hopefully I have enough material, enough paper. So I need 6 inches. Let's see how wide these were. So it would have to be 6 by 5, right? Okay, so we're going to make one 3 inches. Actually, let's make it a little more. How big is this? Yeah, I have plenty of room. Let's make it 4 inches. And 4 inches. That's good. And now we're going to make this 5.5 inches. Actually, let's make it 6 inches. So it's 4.5. It's 4, right? 4 by 6. And the reason we're doing 6 inches is so we have some space to fold down the edges. So 4 by 6. And I'm going to score it 4 by 6. I'm going to score it at 1/2 inch. Let's do 3/4 of an inch on each side. I think that'll work. I'm doing it lightly because I want to check to make sure our pads, which are these that I get at the Dollar Tree for $1 for 3, these are the little pads that we're going to put inside the pockets. So I want to make sure they fit. Okay. And that will be plenty of room. So 3/4 of an inch on each side. And then let's also score at 3/4 of an inch on the bottom, on one long side. And what we're going to do, where the two score lines cross, we're going to cut out that little square. And I'm going to cut it almost in a little V like that. Just like that. And we're going to do that same thing to our other piece. So we're going to score it at 3/4 of an inch. And score on one long side at 3/4 of an inch as well. And I'm going to fold those in. And then we're going to cut out that square using a little V shape on the bottom. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and glue it. We're gluing it as close to the bottom, that center fold, as we can. Just like that. And that's going to go right down here. Don't go over that line, but very close to it. Just like that. Now you see I'm a little over. I'm simply going to trim it. Our pocket's still glued. If it's not, we're going to add some more glue. Just like that. And we're going to do the same thing to the other side. And we're adding this down at this end. Sorry that you can't see while I'm doing this. Let me try to turn it and have give you a better look. But it's the exact same thing we just did. Getting it as close to that fold line as I can without covering it. Snipping off the little bit that's over. Gluing it, which is fine. Making sure this is going to fit. And it will. Okay. Next thing we're going to do is, down at the bottom, we're going to cut a piece that is 5 inches by 3 inches. That's 5 by 3. And actually it should be 4 by 3. So I'm going to snip that off. I'm going to cut a little notch in the center. Then I'm going to take my scoring tool and just score, let's see, I think you can score 1/4 of an inch. And I'm going to go a little more on this side because I cut the notch off. I'm going to go 1/2 inch. So it's a little catty-wonky, but that's okay. Now what you want to do, you want to make sure that a pen's going to fit in there. I have these little pens I got from Dollar Tree a while ago. They're mini pens. So I want to make sure when I glue it down that I'm gluing it down appropriately so that this pen will fit. And let's make that a little narrower and a little narrower. So your finished piece should be about 1.5 inches. I'm going to go back in. And cut these down. Just like that. Okay, that's a little better. And now I'm going to glue it down. And I'm going to glue it inside. I'm gluing it down just like this. You see how I'm kind of keeping a little, making it a little concave, right? Convex. Anyway, so there's some room in there for the pen. Just like that. Okay. Also, I want to embellish that. I'm not going to do that right now. We're going to put on first the closure. So I'm going to wrap that around my finger so it's getting used to bending. Like that. I'm going to put the closure on the inside back. I'm going to put it in with a brad. Just like that. I'm going to just like that. I'm going to find out where I put my brads. Here they are. And it's going to go in like this. I'm going to put the gemstone thingy on the back. Just like that. This is going to go over on this side. And I'm putting it rather low. And that's really to balance the bag so that it sets up properly. So I'm going to make my hole here. And here. And the same thing. Wasn't sure if I had a pink one, but I guess, whoops. Oh, there's one. And, oh, it's not a brad that I needed. That was silly, but I'll put this in anyway because it's pretty. I'm going to put Velcro, if I can find it. There it is. Now you can put a little magnet there. I found that the magnets weren't sticking very well because my magnets weren't strong enough. So I had to use actually a couple of magnets. I'm going to put this all the way down here. Put that on top of it and press it into place. Try again. Put it there. And press it into place. Okay. That'll work. Now it's time for the handles. And I'm going to round the corners on the handles as well. Going to try something with the handle. What I didn't like about the one that I did is I had to use I used magnets and also put brads, but every time I had to take this off and this off and this off, and I wanted just to be able to take this off without having to mess with the handles. So what I'm thinking of doing is adhering these like this. So I don't have to take them off every time. And I think that'll work. So I'm going to adhere those also with a brad. There's another pink one. If I can find 4 pink ones, that would be great. One more, I found it. Okay. So I think we're good. I'm going to adhere this. I'm going to go in from the side. And then curve it around like this. Make sure it's even. Okay. That's one side. And let's do the other side. Round the corners. Something wonky happened again. Okay, and we will adhere that like that. Whoops. I was a little off. Oh, glue on my fingers. Ooh, that's purple. That's not pink. Well, we'll go for that for now. I'll have to find one. I don't want to hold you guys up. Come on. Okay. That's the basics of our purse. Now I want to create the tassel and the covers for the journal or for the notepad. Okay, the tassels. Let me show you what we do with those. We cut squares, rectangles or strips. I'm going to make a shorter tassel than I did the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 inches by a 1/2 inch. And I'm going to cut 5 of those. One. Two. Three. 4. 'll use this one. And 5. I want to make sure they're all 5 inches. Okay, now what we do here is fold them in half, but fold them so that, oops, I forgot to do something. Before we do that, we're going to cut the edges in a banner shape. So cut a V out of each end, so it looks like that. I want to do that, and I want a little piece of string. Okay, now we're cooking with gas. We're going to take these and fold them in half so that you can see the inside. And after we fold one, I'm going to put a little bit of glue there. Fold another one. Whoops. Try to get the edges to match up. Make sure the top is lined up though, that it's kind of squared off. Okay. Next, take a little glue on the back, take a string of any kind and glue that down. Then we're going to take our 5th piece and we're going to wrap it around the whole shebang. And as we do that, we add glue on top of each layer. Just like that. And what I'm going to do is we're going to make this a little shorter, and I'm actually going to just glue a loop. I'm going to see if it'll work. That way, I think I can just put it through the brad. Well, that won't work. That won't work. I'll have to put it on the back. So when I'm done, I have something that looks like this. Just like this. And I think I can probably add it onto this brad. I'm going to open up the brad a little bit so I can fit that behind it. Just like that. I'm going to get something to embellish that mess, the little mess that I made. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is take 2 of the notebooks, and we're going to just create a cover for them. Let me see if I have any paper left. I don't have enough of that. Let me see what else I have over here. This color might be okay on the inside. I think I can get 2 out of this. Maybe not. Okay. Okay, so our pads are 1, 2, 3, 4.5 inches. So I'm going to cut some strips that are 4.5 inches of this pretty paper. And I want the strips to go this way. That's one 4.5 strip. And the other 4.5 strip. We're going to round the corners of this. And we're going to start simply by lining it up. We're going to cut it off after we wrap it. So let's get some glue down. You know, I wish we had in the camera some way of when I'm going out of range of the camera that their bell goes off or something. Wouldn't that be great? Because I know I go off camera. Okay, so we're going to add this. You really want to make sure you line up the edge exactly. You'll notice I only put glue on the front so far. Okay, that's nice and lined up. Now we're going to glue this side. Make sure you get to the edges and the spine. Just like that, making sure it's all lined up. And cut off the excess. And all I'm going to do in each of these is add a little inner pocket or a tuck spot. In this case, it's going to just be a corner with a rounded edge. Just like that. And we're at this dot. And that's it. Just like that. That's one. There goes my dog. Of course. Okay, we want to round the edges. Maybe I'll do the other one. Let's see. I'm going to glue that again. Okay, finishing up this one. Making sure it's lined up, which this one is not. There we go. And wrap it around nice and tight. And trim it. Just like that. And let's give this one a little flap. Cut it. Round it. And glue it. Cut it, round it, and glue it. The paper collection I'm using, I believe, is from, I got it from Cricket when it was on sale a while ago. Yeah, I should have gone in earlier with my bone folder and kind of trained my paper. There we go. Pen, notebooks, tassel, notepad. So cute. I am going to embellish it a bit. I'm going to put something here. Let me see if I have anything left that I want to use. I think I can use this. That there, and this is kind of cute. Like this one. This paper pack that I'm taking these cards from is from Stamperia. It's called Patchwork. I love this paper pack. Stamperia is not cheap though, that's for sure. Let me go in and round these corners. Okay, that will, well, maybe I can add a stripe here. On both of those, just to add a little more color. And to also, just because I can, okay. One more thing I want to look at, and I don't know where I put them. I have a whole box of Project Life cards that I think might be able to fit in here. Okay. Little card. And a Choose Happy card. Just like that. And I think that does it. Whoops. Uh-oh. I think there we go. Okay, well, thank you for sticking around. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you try to make one. I think they'll make really cute gifts with pens. Sometimes you can find these at the Target dollar spot, and the notebooks are at Dollar Tree always for 3 for $1. Okie doke. Thank you all. I hope you enjoyed it. Bye.